and public, thank you for that. I welcome you to this meeting of the Council this evening. If the fire alarm is activated, please vacate the offices via the stairs, either through the security doors or the doors to my right, or opposite the lifts in the foyer. Please do not use the lifts. Assemble in Hawley Square on the green, and officers will assist you and advise you when it's deemed safe to return to the chamber. The proceedings of this meeting will be recorded and subsequently broadcast on the internet. I would advise that if filming takes place, anyone in attendance in the public areas may have their image captured, so I urge anyone filming proceedings to avoid filming members of the public, particularly if there are children present. Does anyone intend to film the meeting? Thank you very much. Any member of the public who objects to the possibility of being filmed may wish to take this opportunity to leave. Any filming or recording will not be permitted for any item of business where exempt or confidential information is considered, following the exclusion of the press and the public from the meeting. And finally, would everyone present please ensure their mobile phones are turned to silent, that they are not used to make or receive phone calls in the chamber whilst this meeting is in progress. To our agenda then, agenda item number 1, apologies for absence. We have apologies from Councillors Brim, Dennis, Dawson, Evans, Ian Gregory, Ken Gregory and Councillor Partington. Are there any other apologies? Councillor Rogers, thank you very much.
And
Sir Gary Hillman, is he?
Gary Hill.
Not here. Thank you very much. Would members please refer to supplementary agenda item number 1, the minutes of the meeting held on the 9th of February 2017. I move that the minutes of the meeting of this council held on the 9th of February 2017 be approved and signed as a correct record. Would the Vice Chairman please second?
Seconded.
Do members agree? Thank you. Agenda item number 3 on announcements. I've not been informed of any announcements. So agenda item number 4, are there any declarations of interest? Thank you very much. Agenda item number 5 then on the main agenda, petitions to the council. And 5A is access to Hodges Gap Promenade car park. A petition containing 45 valid signatures has been received by the council, and I am pleased to welcome Ms. Singer to the meeting. Could you please make your way to the top table? Thank you, Ms. Singer. You have up to 3 minutes to speak to council.
Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to find out why an ordinary member of the public has been allowed to block access to a council car park. I'm referring to the barrier leading to the Hodges Gap Promenade car park. About 3 months ago, a second lock appeared on this barrier. Most barriers in Thanet have a padlock for which relevant parties have a key, i.e. emergency services. I've been told that this barrier has not been locked as standard for the past 40 years. Initially, and I and many others would-be users of the car park found that the barrier had been locked with a standard padlock overnight. Inconvenient, but usually we found it open during the day. Suddenly, a second padlock was being used. The police informed me that they do not have a key for this padlock, as has the person who maintains the life buoys. No access. Presumably, neither do other emergency services. It seems that the Jet Ski Cafe leaseholder put on this padlock. According to the Land Registry, the Jet Ski Cafe leaseholder only leases the cafe and the yellow-marked base. The rest of the land on Hodges Gap is not leased and has been used by the residents of Thanet and its visitors. Palm Bay Beach is the only beach in Margate that can be used by dogs all year round. Unfortunately, now the only option is to park just outside the barrier to Hodges Gap or go down an upper flight of stairs or ramps. I, as well as others, have an issue going down, up, or both. Many have simply stopped going to the beach. I have often seen people come down only to leave again. Even the parents of the scouts had to pick up the children from the top of the cliff at the end of last summer because the barrier had been padlocked. When the tidal pool was emptied and children came to look at the wildlife before school, the parents had parked in front of both barriers. It was chaos. There is a reasonable expectation and furthermore a precedent that there is access to the Hodges Gap promenade in order to park because of the signs that are there. They are for drivers. It's a car park and yet cannot be used as one. This means that a large section of the population is being denied access, such as the elderly, people with disabilities, wheelchair users, and people with small children using pushchairs. It's unintentionally discriminatory. It also represents a health and safety risk, since the emergency services do not have access. I'm sure that this padlock is not official. I have witnessed a van arriving at the barrier on several occasions, being let in, and then the barrier again being locked with both padlocks. This creates the impression that the whole area is for the sole benefit of the cafe only. I don't believe this is right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Singer. In accordance with our council's petition scheme, the petition will be referred to Cabinet without debate this evening for a report to come back to council within 3 ordinary meetings. Thank you for coming to council.
Do you want the speech?
Thank you.
And a backup letter from a lady with a tumour who stopped going to the beach.
Thank you for coming to the council.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 5B then, the petition to change the number 9 bus route, and the report provides members with an update regarding a petition considered by council on the 13th of October 2016. Councillor Matterface, as you represented the petition to the Quality Bus Partnership on behalf of the council, would you please like to update us on events?
Yes, of course, Chair, happy to. I took it to the Thanet Quality Bus Partnership, explained the situation, explained why people were anxious about this service, and I was assured that at the next meeting they would be able to come back and under action points, they're really, really tough on action points, I would have the information which I will obviously be happy to pass on at the next meeting.
Thank you very much. Would members please note the report? Thank you. Agenda item number 6, questions from the press and the public. One question has been received from a member of the public in accordance with Council Procedure Rule number 13. Please note that only the questioner and the respondent are permitted to speak on the question, and if the questioner is not present at the meeting, their question cannot be put but will be replied to in writing. Could the questioner please only state the name of the Cabinet member to whom their question is to be put and read out the exact wording of the question that they have submitted to Council. The question is regarding Thanet GP surgeries, and I'm pleased to welcome Ms Gregory to the meeting. Could you please make your way to the top table?
Question to Councillor Fairbrass, Cabinet Member for Community Services. NHS England, in its sustainability and transformation plans, propose reducing the 16 Thanet GP surgeries to 4. Will the Council, through the Health and Wellbeing Board, please confirm or deny this, or determine whether it refers only to some community provisions and not to the full range of general practice? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your question. A core theme of the CCG Sustainability Transformation Plan is to improve local out-of-hospital care. In Thanet, the CCG are looking at doing this using the primary care home model. This is an approach to support primary care and the local services clustered around them to work together and reshape the way services are delivered. It is based on local population needs and ensuring sustainability. Primary care home areas generally provide care to defined populations of between 30,000 and 50,000 people. In Thanet, we will have 4 areas or localities: Broadstairs, Margate, Quecks and Ramsgate. The idea is that constituent practices within those areas will work in conjunction and collaboratively to make primary care stable and sustainable, as well as start to work with other providers of health and care services in the NHS, local authority and voluntary sectors to provide real integrated local services. This doesn't necessarily mean fewer GP practices. It means that they will work together at a larger scale. It is acknowledged that sometimes GP partners that hold individual contracts with NHS England, from April 2017 it will be Thanet CCG that will manage these, want to merge or hand back their contracts. But when this occurs, the CCG work with local partners, patients and GPs to find a solution that is sustainable for the future and ensures that patients still will have a good service. We also need to face the challenge of the shrinking numbers of GPs, mainly due to retirement. This is a national problem, and Thanet is not immune. In recent years, practices have closed and patients have had to register elsewhere. The primary care home model will help us to develop services that work better for patients and are more attractive to GPs. One of those ideas has been recently trialled, is that of sharing data so that a patient can choose to go to another practice if their own has a longer wait for an appointment, thus sharing the load. As part of these plans, the CCG are looking at buildings too. They want to use money from NHS England Estates, Technology and Transformation Fund to help establish integrated health and wellbeing centres, which will sometimes be called hubs. They're currently looking at the feasibility of such centres in Margate, Westwood Cross, Ramsgate and Quecks, and alongside this they will review their existing buildings. Their aim is to develop primary care and local care services that work better for our population and staff and are fit for the future. I will be asking to be kept updated and I will be monitoring these plans through the Health and Wellbeing Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 7, questions from members of the Council. Would members please note that item 7A, a question regarding Thanet play areas, has been withdrawn by the questioner. So we move to 7B, a briefing to members. Would members please refer to supplementary agenda number 1. And I call please on Councillor Savage.
Thank you very much, Chairman. River Oaks draft statement of community consultation intends engagement with wider public debate, which at present does not include this chamber. For fairness and impartiality, since Avia gave a presentation to TDC, can the leader advise why it is not his intention to offer River Oak the same opportunity? Thank you.
Thank you. I call upon Councillor Wells to respond.
Thank you for your question, Councillor Savage. Initially, it is important to understand that it is River Oak's responsibility to manage the consultation of their pre-application process, not mine. I understand from the PINS website, and since from information now received from River Oak directly, that River Oak are currently consulting with the local authorities on the contents of their draft statement of community consultation. The timescale for comments on this document run to the 10th of March, I believe, and there is then a pause for River Oak to show that they have taken on board the comments made to them by the local authorities they have approached, and prior to the consultation itself, according to River Oak's own documentation, which is due to run between May and July of this year. There is then another pause as the results of the consultation are written up and analysed, and as I understand the process, shared once again with the local authorities concerned prior to any application being able to begin. According to council procedures, as the formal consultation process is undertaken by River Oak, it would be the responsibility of the executive to respond on behalf of the council. You can imagine that there are many such consultations which take place each year, requiring a response, and it is impractical for all councillors to respond on each occasion. However, individual councillors will presumably have the opportunity to take part in any or all of the public consultation processes which will be offered by River Oak, some of which detail is contained within the draft statement of community consultation referred to in your question. The full response from the council is being worked on by officers right now and will be returned before the deadline. I have looked at River Oak's proposed draft myself because it has now appeared to have been released in the public domain. And on a first read, I had a couple of observations. I observed firstly that the new company image and logo proposed appears to be branded in UKIP purple and yellow, which I thought was an interesting choice given all the circumstances. As has been the tradition in many River Oak documents presented to this council, it seems to lack some of the important detail we might expect. In particular, in River Oak document, it's a tradition in River Oak documents, I think, that some of this stuff is not present. But in particular, I would draw your attention to the map showing potential noise-impacted areas, which seems to me pretty basic and pretty generic to the point of being almost useless. And it appears to assume that no one who lives under a potential flight path could be noise impacted by operations, which I think is an interesting assertion and I doubt will last very long when public comment comes in. But perhaps more important than that, the phrase "to be confirmed" pops up several times throughout in what's a fairly thin document, though it does have many glossy pictures. I've additionally observed that the council, as well as PINS, will be looking for evidence of lessons learned by River Oak from their last round of public consultation, particularly in the areas of data protection and security, use of campaign volunteers in key roles, including the infamous security guard issues, which PINS raised the complaints they received directly with River Oak about intimidation that was claimed to have taken place at public events. Your question puzzles me in one respect, in that the introduction to that very statement that River Oak state that they have consulted with both TDC and KCC on this matter already, presumably enough to satisfy themselves as to the information and discussion they require. I'll remind you, as I stated at the start of this answer, under the protocol of any potential DCR application in the future, they actually begin at some point that River Oak are responsible for managing the stages of their own pre-application and making the necessary arrangements, not us. Your question would appear to differ from River Oak's own written introduction that they have already consulted, presumably to their own satisfaction, prior to the drafting of this document. Constitutionally, Avia are in a different position to River Oak. Avia made presentations to councillors because they wrote a report for this council on the local plan, and the local plan is a matter which has to be agreed by council and is not therefore solely the responsibility of the executive. And of course, as has often been explained, the local plan is required to be based on evidence. It would be fair to comment that a robust evidence base is not a noted strength of River Oak's interactions with this council to date, nor of their interactions with Avia or KCZ, or indeed with some who attended the previous consultations run by them. Let us all hope that is about to change, so we can all judge the potential viability of what they propose, although based on their current draft statement and its map reference to the village of Minster, robust proofreading would appear to be a challenge for them, let alone robust evidence.
Councillor Savage, do you have a supplementary question?
Well, of course, Chairman. Thank you. Well, I take all that on board, and thank you very much for all of that. Quite long, quite protracted. However, can he explain why councillors in this chamber are not deserving of an equal hearing from River Oak, which would surely help them take a balanced view when deciding the future of the airport site in relation to the emerging local plan, for which they will all have to have a say? Thank you, Chairman.
Councillor Wells.
Protracted and lengthy it might have been, but it was clear on one thing. This is not a consultation over which I have control. And if you look at the statement of community consultation put forward by River Oak, there is nothing and no request of that type contained within it. As has happened before in this chamber, I suggest you're asking the wrong people the right questions.
Thank you. Agenda item number 8. Motions of notice. No motions of notice have been received in accordance with Council Procedure Rule 3. So we move to agenda item number 9, the Leader's Report, and I call upon the
Chairman,
Leader. Yes.
sorry, could I have a word about this before you open the item, please? The Constitution actually says that the Leader of the Council will make available in writing the content of his oral report to opposition group leaders no later than Saturday before the meeting. Speech will not exceed 10 minutes on key issues arising since the last meeting of the Council. Now, at a meeting that was held some time ago, as a concession, at least 2 of the opposition leaders agreed that it was acceptable for the Leader to send bullet points the Saturday before the meeting, and that the transcript of the actual speech he was going to make would arrive with us the day before. Well, this time, although it was some 3 weeks ago rather than last Saturday, we were advised it was going to talk on one topic, which was the merger. The transcript did arrive the day before, but it arrived at 10:10 yesterday evening, which doesn't really seem to be in the spirit of the Constitution anyway, but it actually references 4 further topics. But there are also, more importantly and more worryingly, 4 paragraphs of gratuitous politicking, and I think that's totally unacceptable. I think it shows contempt for the Constitution, contempt for this chamber, and more importantly, contempt for you, Chairman, because once Councillor Wells has said something, it's too late. You can't stop him from doing it. So to help you tonight, I've made a copy of the transcript, I've highlighted the offending paragraphs, and invite you to have a read so you can rule out of order the things that shouldn't be being said this evening. Thank you.
Councillor Wells, could I just have a moment, please? Councillor Bayford, thank you very much. I have passed the amended copy to Councillor Wells, who will now deliver it with some of those items removed.
Okay. I will start with a simple comment about what's happened here this evening, which is that the intention of the sharing of the script was so that the opposition leaders should be aware of what was going to be said and will give them a fair chance to produce a response. Of course, that arrangement in future will have to be, I'll have to send you the script, you'll have to send me your responses, so it's an even playing field. So, I mean, you know, careful what you wish for. The leaders' report. No. The leaders' report. I beg your pardon?
Just stick to the rules of the Constitution.
Well, then you should as well, Councillor Bayford. The leaders' report is about things that have happened in and to the Council since the last meeting, and probably the most obvious and public of which has been the publication of the business case for the merging of 4 East Kent District Councils in late January. Whilst as a council we have met since then, it was for the annual budget meeting, which is focused purely on the budget and medium-term financial strategy, giving no space for leaders' report, something for which some of you may have been grateful. To summarise, Thanet, alongside the district councils of Canterbury, Dover and Shetway, are considering the business case for a new single council for East Kent, the largest of its kind in the country. What is proposed is a first in local government. The merger of 4 district councils has not been attempted anywhere else, as far as we are aware. It is not anticipated to be a unitary council, as having discussed the options, it is clear that to achieve that would require both government and KCC support, neither of which appears to be readily available just now. The alternative is continuing as we are, with increasing budget pressures and deficits to find in the years to 2025 and beyond. The estimates suggest that this council would need to be finding an additional 15 million or so in increased income, i.e. increasing fees, charges and council tax, and or reduction in costs, essentially reductions in services to residents. This is the very real and ongoing impact of the years of Tory austerity. Interesting you left that one in. Neither of which appears to be readily available just now. Tory austerity reducing the monies coming to councils such as ours by some 40%. The nature and structure of the merger proposition is unusual, a fundamental reform of local government which sharply reduces the numbers of directors. In that sense alone, it is something to be proud to be associated with. The published business case explores economic potential, a stronger East Kent voice, economies of scale and resulting resilience, potential for greater investment in East Kent, £6.8 million of savings within 2 years, transitional costs recouped in a year, improved and consistent customer experience, and a transformation and enhanced quality of service. Councillors will be considering the local implications before deciding on Wednesday, 22nd March, whether to move to public engagement and consultation. I'm sorry, that should have been public consultation and engagement. I think that was the phrase we used. Yeah, I've got them both in there, though. In July 2016, 5 councillors in East Kent decided to commission this business case for a new council to test if the financial and commercial case made sense. The business case, structured to the government treasury model, clearly identifies that the creation of a single East Kent council is an ambitious but logical next step for 4 councils. The projected savings required to meet budget gaps on current projections to 2025 mean a required budget reduction of some £60 million between the 4 of us by 2025. The best part of £42 million can be achieved through this proposed merger alone. The East Kent districts already have a well-established track record of collaboration and shared service, and a new single council should improve and streamline these services. Given the significant recent changes in the funding of local government, we are all clear things cannot continue as they are. The business case documents, background information, council reports and a list of frequently asked questions are available to view on the council website, and there is an ongoing programme of small group member briefings to enable questions to be asked, answered and consider length in private. Perhaps most interestingly, the results of all our hard work to sort the finances of this council over the last 2 years are here now laid out for all to see. The savings we must contribute are around 25% of the total, just where it should be between 4 councils. The indebtedness of this council appears to be less than that of our colleagues. Our council tax here should stand still or slightly reduce, not inexorably rise, as has been predicted. And the results of the financial elements of the business case have surprised some of our colleague councils. Their knee-jerk reactions about Thanet and its reputation challenged by the figures we have all jointly commissioned. Meanwhile, here in Thanet, out of the public eye, at the council budget meeting, for the first time ever, the council budget was passed unanimously, supported by all parties, because the UKIP-run council had offered transparency in briefings to all councillors and listened and adopted many of the comments made. That was a first in Thanet council history, and that is just boring old stuff that doesn't interest the newspapers, though. So, this spring is proving as busy as previously anticipated. The budget cycle's running very smoothly in spite of the very late government changes to the settlement in December 2016. Some successful asset disposals at a recent auction, reserve prices of around £180,000 became a selling price of £540,000, which I trust reassures to some extent Councillor Gregory regarding his recent fears for the capital programme. I hope you can pass that on to him, Councillor Bayford. The local plan consultation is in progress, and given how much controversial commentary and counterclaim I am now hearing, I believe there could just be some sort of election due in May as well. Dreamland would appear to be close to finally having the necessary working capital it needs available. There's a building change of use public inquiry on the near horizon, and as we have already heard in a question this evening, yet another promise about real detail concerning a possible DCO application in the future. A truly peaceful few weeks through early 2017, just to keep us all on our toes. And when we have finished here this evening, we can all look forward to a couple of by-election results in the early hours for the political anoraks amongst us. I commend this report to the Council on this February evening and look forward to undoubtedly good-natured and genteel comment from other group leaders. We could just choose to leave the buffeting to the incoming Storm Doris for a change, perhaps. We shall see, Mr. Chairman. We shall see.
Thank you very much. I call upon Councillor Bayford to comment on or ask questions in relation to the Leaders' Report.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I now know what it feels like to be hoisted by one's own petard. I spent hours shaping insults to hurl at Councillor Wells over the things that he put in this report, which you've now ruled out of order. So all that time has been wasted. But I'll find a way to use them at some later date. Referring to the report you actually gave, I'm personally pleased to hear about the merger that we're looking towards at the moment. I know that there's lots of things that have got to happen before a merger takes place, and the final shape of that merged authority may be very different to the one that's being envisaged right now. But I actually think that the days of a single small district council are numbered. The financial struggles will deepen, will eventually cause serious operational difficulties. The business case for merger, I think, is strong, and a new larger council will improve the strategic importance of East Kent. It's important that the existing councils don't get bogged down worrying about the detail of what might be lost or gained individually. If the East Kent councils don't sort something out between them, eventually someone, probably the government, will do it for them. This is an opportunity to create something new and exciting, a unique situation which could yield great benefits. Some people are concerned that a larger authority, and he said Labour authority there, which it probably won't be, but never mind. Some people... Sorry about that. No, I'll withdraw that remark, Chairman, withdraw it. Some people are concerned that a larger authority makes decision-making more remote for the residents, but I believe that an integral part of the merger's success will lie in devolution, taking on some responsibilities and powers from county, and perhaps more importantly, handing down some services to town and parish councils, making more decisions taken locally by local people. I think the merger potentially is a great idea and we should bring it on. I have to comment on you taking credit for the budget being unanimously passed. It didn't have much to do with you, Councillor Wells. It was a tribute to your finance team who were open and honest and took note of helpful suggestions made by opposition members, allowing us all to take ownership for the budget. I do have to point out as well, well, no, you've actually taken credit for it, but never mind. You did actually mention by-elections today. I have to inform you that when it's a by-election, you spell it B-Y, not B-I. I think a B-I election might be something a little different. Thank you.
Councillor Wells? Not even a quick thank you?
No, wait. I note what was said and what we have been reduced to.
Thank you, Chair. I've got one or two comments. Apparently, since 1995, elected members have had a budgetary briefing, so it's not something that's just been brought in. And also, I understand that they went out to consult with the public as well, so it's not something new. I'm pleased that at the first briefing that I went to, where we were concerned about the concept of public engagement, and I'm very pleased to see that now has become consultation engagement, because I think the concept of engagement is at best vague. Consultation, people understand. And the third point I would like to make is that, yes, obviously devolving powers to local parish and town councils has a lot of merit, so long as they have adequate resources to carry out what they are expected to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wells? Councillor Grove to comment on or ask questions in relation to the Leaders' Report.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Yes, I think the merger is going to be a good thing for one and all. I don't think we can carry along the paths that we have been. But what I am pleased to read in the report and also see the actions in this chamber tonight, especially after the budget and medium-term financial strategy, where everybody voted for it. We seem to be getting friendly with each other for a change, and we seem to start to work with each other for a change. The only thing I found tonight a little bit disappointing was the report was a bit like Spycatcher. Some of the points had been taken out, but never mind, I'm quite happy with what's going on. Thank you.
Councillor Wells. Any final words, Councillor Wells? 10, then, the report from the Chairman of the Overview and Scrutiny Panel. I call upon Councillor David Saunders to present his report.
Thank you, Chairman. Members, since my last report on the 1st of December 2016, seems an awful long while ago now, the Overview and Scrutiny Panel has met on 3 occasions, and between them, the working parties on 4 occasions. The report before you this evening summarises the scrutiny content and recommendations, where appropriate, of the Community Safety Partnership, who I have to say have been working very diligently on very important subjects, and the Corporate Performance Review Working Party. I would confirm, just to mention, in case any members haven't spotted it, I would confirm that the Electoral Registration Process Review Party has been replaced within the work programme by the Dreamland Working Group, who met on the 2nd of February and agreed the terms of reference and work programme for this subgroup, and I'm looking forward to some interesting information coming out of that subgroup that will clarify the situation for all members who have concerns. Another subject which has been raised this evening on more than one occasion, but as you know, I always encourage members to attend the Overview and Scrutiny meetings, and in this connection I would draw your attention to agenda item 3, which is headed the business case Single East Kent Council, which is on the agenda, that's the Overview and Scrutiny agenda for our next meeting on the 2nd of March. So therefore, any member wishing to contribute further to this important proposal under Council Rule 20.1, and I think the briefings that we've had from the Chief Executive have been very, very helpful so far, they may wish to take the opportunity of attending the meeting, as I say, which is on the 2nd of March, and contributing. Chairman, I commend the report to the Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Saunders. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Councillor Saunders, for your report. I would just like to actually echo your words of encouragement for members to attend these meetings, not just the Overview and Scrutiny, but also the other working party groups, which are open to all members to attend and participate. I do try and attend, although I'm not a member of the Corporate Performance Review Working Party. I'm sorry, I'm struggling with a long name. At the most recent meeting on the 16th of January, the chairman, Councillor Campbell, was asked by financial officers whether they might consider changing the name, because it is quite a mouthful. And I think that particular working party decided to keep it as it is, but I thought, actually, I won't miss an opportunity to raise it tonight. It was very poorly attended, unfortunately, by UKIP, that meeting on the 16th of January. There were 2 of your members absent with no substitutes. In fact, the chairman asked me if I'd like to be a substitute for one of the UKIP members, and I thought, well, that wouldn't really be appropriate, so I didn't. But I jest, Mr. Chairman, in some ways, but I think it is a really important point. The members of this council should do their absolute best to go to all the meetings for which they have been asked to sit on the committee, and also attend the training. We had excellent training on effective communication and questioning, awkward questions or something like that, the title, on Tuesday, and I believe it was quite poorly attended. It's a shame, because they're put on for our benefit, and I think we can all learn. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Agenda item number 11, exceptional hardship scheme. I call upon Councillor Townend, please.
Thank you, Chair. When Council approved the 2017-18 Council Tax Support Scheme on the 1st of December 2016, it also agreed to receive a report in respect of an exceptional hardship scheme. This latter scheme is designed to provide a one-off financial contribution to applicants that can demonstrate exceptional hardship as a result of changes to council tax support. The Council has previously recognised the inadequate central government funding that has resulted in the need for the review of council tax support by Thanet, as well as other local authorities. Members have approved a new scheme that is jointly the most generous in Kent. Overview and Scrutiny Panel considered this exceptional hardship scheme on the 26th of January, and Cabinet approved this report on the 31st of January. I move that Council approve the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Townend. Is there a seconder, please?
Seconded, Chair.
Councillor Crowbound, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I would just ask Council to actually approve this. I think it's absolutely vital that there is a backup scheme for those who could be put into financial hardship. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Game. Councillor Campbell?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'd just like to thank Councillor Townend. He brought this through to the Overview Scrutiny Panel and took on board some of the suggestions, positive suggestions that were made, and is included in the new scheme. The only disappointing feature is that we've had to take on trust the actual application form, which is not quite ready yet. Still, we'll look at that when it comes available, but I do, as the Councillor just said, seek all members to urge them to actually support this scheme. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do members agree? Thank you very much. Agenda item number 12 then, the Council Tax Statutory Resolution. Would members please refer once more to the supplementary agenda number 1. I will advise that in accordance with Council Procedure Rule 17.6, I will call for a recorded vote on the motion or any amendments and substantive motions. I call upon Councillor Townend, please.
Thank you, Chair. This report sets out the calculation of Thanet's council tax and proposes the increase to be effective for 2017-18. It includes reference to the preceptors listed in paragraph 1.3.8, whose precepts TDC collect along with its own council tax. Council approved the 2017-18 budget on the 9th of February, which assumed an increase of £4.95 for a Band D property. This represents an increase of 2.3%. I would also like to draw members' attention to the relatively low increase in Thanet's council tax increase, as shown in paragraph 2.3. It is below the overall increase of 3.83%, and only Kent Fire and Rescue has a smaller increase than TDC. This report and its recommendation follow a structure as laid down in law, and it represents a statutory resolution. I move the recommendations.
Thank you. Is there a seconder, please?
Second this.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Ashby. Councillor Bainbridge. Councillor Bayford. Councillor Braidwood. Councillor Buckley. Councillor Campbell. Councillor Glenn Coleman Cook. Councillor Keith Coleman Cook. Councillor Connor. Councillor Constantine. Councillor Crow Brown. Councillor Curran. Councillor Della. Councillor Dexter. Councillor Dixon. Absent, I'm sorry. Councillor Edwards. Councillor Eleanor. Councillor Jeremy Fairbrass. Councillor Lynn Fairbrass. Councillor Falcon. Councillor Fenner. Councillor Game. Councillor Grove. Councillor Hayton. Councillor Hillman.
Agree.
Councillor Howes. Councillor J. Jones. Councillor Johnston. Councillor Larkins. Councillor Martin. Councillor Matterface. Councillor Parsons. Councillor Linda Piper. Councillor Stuart Piper.
Agreed.
Councillor Linda Potts. Councillor Roy Potts. Councillor Rozecki. Councillor David Saunders. Councillor Maeve Saunders. Councillor Savage. Councillor Shonk. Councillor Stummer-Smirchsing. Councillor Taylor. Councillor Taylor-Smith. Councillor Tomlinson. Councillor Townend. Councillor Wells. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, members. That represents another unanimous agreement in the Council. Thank you for that. Agenda item number 13, the calendar of Council meetings. I move that the Council approves the calendar of meetings for 2017-18 and 2018-19 as set out in Annex 1 to the report. Would the Vice Chairman please second?
Seconded.
Do members agree? Thank you. Agenda item number 14, a report on the urgent individual Cabinet member decision. The purpose of this item is only to inform Council that this individual Cabinet member decision was exempt from call-in in accordance with the overview and scrutiny procedure rules. Would members please note the report? Thank you. That concludes the business for the meeting of this Council.